Hi and welcome back to episode 65 of the weekly update, I believe. Let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Once again, we're here, it's late, and we're gonna have a good time. What a week it has been. It felt like it was a really long time I recorded one of these videos, which is a really good sign actually in many ways. It hasn't been a super productive week, but it has been very interesting, exciting week with a lot of things happening. And the reason because of that is the week which has just been. I was away for 2 days in a different city with school, which is not ideal for the things that I'm trying to work towards, but it was actually really fun and a really good time. I got some insights from that. I got a little break from all of this. I got in a totally different headspace, and after that I went for like 2-3 days and didn't really do much of this. I had sort of a mini vacation for like 4 or 5 days, which was not really the plan, but I don't regret it at all. I feel like it was very good and very well needed. And now I feel like I'm back. I'm a bit tired, but it's crazy how fast you can snap out of your habits and also snap back into them. It has only been a day of me being back in my old routine, working out and doing the shit that I normally do, but I feel like I'm back, and it feels like it was a long time ago I was not locked in or not in my routine, even though it was days ago or like yesterday. And it felt like it was a really long time I was away in this other city, but it was also just a couple of days ago. It's crazy how you perceive time. It's really interesting. It could be a whole different discussion, but how you perceive time is not very objective. Your brain or your view at it can be mixed up so much. So I have been away. That was very fun, and also insightful. And insightful in what ways? Well, I can say that I got a little bit of a more taste for doing things which are actually fun but challenging. Before going on this school trip, which we were staying in this other city, we were doing sort of a job for this other school. We were broadcasting a concert for them, and before that, I was very scared. Like the day before, I hadn't thought about this whole thing. I knew that we were going to this place, but I hadn't put any thought into it for the past, like for the upcoming weeks that I knew of that. I hadn't put any thought into that. But the day before we were going, or we were planning to go, I was very stressed at it. I got all of these feelings which I'm very familiar with. I know this pattern very, very well now, but it still doesn't take away from the part that it's very hard that if I'm going to do something new, something which I'm not familiar with, which I haven't been doing for a little while, I can have been doing it for a long time before, but if I'm getting out of something and then coming back into it, or if I'm just doing something completely new, I always dread it. I always get so nervous. I always hate it so much in the beginning. It's like, I can't really explain it that well, but my body just gets into this super anxious, super panic mode, which is a bit strange. I'm sure that other people feel this way, but I feel like it's not super common. I feel like a lot of people doesn't really feel this way, and that is something which I envy. I would like to feel that way. It would be so much easier and not as painful, but I'm not sure if I explained it that well. But basically, when I am about to do something new, let's say this thing, because it's a really good example. I'm about to go away with my school to a new city. We're gonna stay at this hotel. We're gonna do this thing which I never done before, broadcast this concert. I'm gonna stay with all of these people which I know, but it's still like I haven't lived with them that much. I haven't really been talking with all of them for now a bit. We have been a little bit scattered doing different things, and a thing that I struggle with, or have really struggled with in the past and still am anxious about is eating food with new people, eating food in situations which I don't have control over, how weird it may sound. And a lot of these things which I know that I'm super scared of, or I'm really, it's super painful in the moment, can feel so pathetic actually when I'm talking about them like this. Then it just is so irrational. But I know that when I'm in that moment, it becomes really scary, really hard. So I was scared before doing this. I had these panic thoughts or these demons which always come up before you're doing something which you are uncomfortable before, like, oh my god, you're not gonna be able to do this, you shouldn't be doing this, you're trying to come up with all of these excuses in your own head, you're trying to get some sort of path out of this, you're thinking of emergency plans like, how am I going to be able to skip this? Well, I can call in sick that day and I can just disappear and no one will ask where I went. I can just say that some emergency happened, so I had to go. Your brain really gets super creative and starts to come up all of these ideas. That is super annoying in the moment. It is really mega painful, mega hard, mega just not comfortable at all in the moment. And once you're out of it, it's very hard to get back into that feeling without actually getting into such a situation. It's very hard for me to right now feel how I felt in that situation, even though it was just a couple of days ago. I have a hard time reconnecting with those emotions, even though I can sit here and explain them because I remember them, but I can't really feel them, or I have a hard time feeling them. But the thing that I'm trying to get at is that I had this thing which I thought was very hard in that moment. And when I'm in that moment, I really don't look forward to it. I try to get out of it. I don't want to do it. But once you're out of that, once you're on the other side, you don't regret it. And to get a bit personal once again, I struggle really much in this beginning part, which can be anywhere from, for me, it's actually the worst part before you even get to doing the thing. That is actually the worst part by far. The thoughts that come before you actually do the thing, it's often way worse than you actually doing the thing. Which is funny how your brain works there, but you play up scenarios which are way worse than it actually is. And even if it's bad, it's only bad for a short period of time in the beginning. And once I'm past that beginning part, I get very comfortable. It's like all of these thoughts, all of these struggles, all of these uncomfortable feelings just disappear like that. And then I'm one of the more comfortable people in that scenario. I really thrive there. But it's just this beginning part which is so hard to get past. But once you're past it, it's so easy. And the thing that I'm trying to get here is that doing something which you feel is really uncomfortable, I've talked about this before, challenging yourself to things that you really don't want to do, there is something really important in that. You can learn a lot there and you can really grow there, but it is one of those things which you really have to keep going at. You can't never feel like, yeah, now I'm done with that. Now I have challenged myself enough. Because it is a thing which is temporary. It's not this thing which you can just build up once and you will always have it. No, it's the thing that you have to test. You have to limit test yourself. You have to fight this thing really as often as you possibly can. Of course, you will have to, if you're doing this really often, if you're going about this every single day, you will have to have periods of rest because your nervous system will get really tired and fatigued of having these mega spikes of, I'm not sure what it is, if it's cortisol or adrenaline or all of these hormones. You will have to get into your normal state, your parasympathetic, which is basically your relaxed mode, I think. But your body will have to get back into homeostasis, which is the state which your body is always trying to get at, which is where everything is in balance. So yeah, you will have to rest basically. But really doing this as often as possible is a really good idea and something which if you manage to do, will make you have such a tremendous amount of progress in really whatever it is that you're trying to do, but especially in your personal growth, in your ability, if you're struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with social fears. That is the thing that I have most personal expertise in, or experience, really. The thing that I can mostly relate to, and this is really the best thing that you can do, is challenging yourself, and the feeling afterwards is also so good. And the one thing which I feel like can be a really helpful tip if you are struggling with staying consistent with challenging yourself. For me personally, it's way too inconsistent. I challenge myself like a big challenge like this every second month. It feels like it goes quite a long time between this, which is too long period of time for me to really reap the benefits of this struggle. If I want to maximize this, I really ideally will have to do this maybe 2 times a week, or even more, maybe once a day, but not on that big of a scale. Really trying to put yourself in some sort of discomfort every single day is really good and really beneficial. So how can you really stay consistent with this? I have one idea which I feel is very good, but it will also be painful. But that's how all of this is going to be. It's going to be painful doing this, but you will see tremendous growth. And the tip is to book yourself up to situations where you have to challenge yourself, and to book them once you have completed a tough challenge. So right now I should book myself up for things that I know will be really challenging for me, and I should make it as specific as possible. I should use all of the tips that are given in like the 1% method, all of the tips of how you actually get yourself to do a thing which you say that you're gonna do. Set them in your calendar, write a note. The most important thing is probably to set a specific time for you to actually do that. So let's say I right now book in 1 week I should go up and have a conversation with a stranger. That to me would be scary. Not right now, I don't really feel anything, but I know that before I have to do that, I would have to dig deep a bit for me to actually get the courage to do that, and that would be a bit scary to me. I should set up a time, a date, a specific place, ideally, for where I intend to do this. Now that's not a super good example, because I see some practical difficulties with that, but I'm sure that you can come up with something good to challenge yourself. Of course you can, and you can do it way better than I can, because we probably don't have the same things that we're dealing with. We probably don't have the same things which we feel are really uncomfortable, but I'm sure that you know what you feel is really uncomfortable. Of course you know. And then you will have to do that thing, or do a thing that gets you those emotions, and then you're making really good progress. So that's just a thing that I thought about that should help you stay consistent with that, because that's the thing which I struggle with. I get to do these things which are really beneficial, really grows you a lot, but I do them very inconsistently and with no real intention to when I do them, or no plan of when I'm doing the next thing. I just have these challenges which come up and I do them, but it's a strange thing, a challenge which can feel almost impossible, like something which is too big of a hassle or too big of a problem. Then you just do it, and while you're doing it, it's not that hard, but afterwards it can get really emotional, and you can just feel so proud of yourself. Now the thing that comes to mind is right around 1 year ago, I summited Sweden's tallest mountain, Kebnekaise. This is a thing that I recurrently come back to, but before that trip, I was so nervous. And the thing that I was struggling with the most, it wasn't before the trip I was really nervous, but especially the first day was fucking hard as shit. There were so many things in that was just so hard, both mentally but also physically. I was on a train which was super hot. It was like 30 degrees Celsius, and not eating that much, not sleeping super good. Then up the next morning, going on more trains, not eating that much. Then riding a car for a couple of hours, and by this point I have been traveling for 24 hours straight. No joke, 24 hours straight on train and car. And then coming to our start of the hike, eating a freeze-dried bag of food, feeling like I was going to throw up. I didn't finish the whole thing because I couldn't. It was just became too much of a challenge. And then walking 20 kilometers in kind of rough terrain with 20 kgs on my back to then go to sleep for like 6 hours and then summit a mountain for 11 hours. Like, that thing was just kind of hard to believe. The darkest point of that whole thing was not actually going up the mountain. It was before starting all of the thing, when I was at the start of that hike, eating that food. That was the darkest moment of that trip, and it was really painful at the moment. But afterwards, I feel like I grew a lot, and that the growth wasn't permanent. It's only lasts for a short while. Too short. I wish it would last way longer, but unfortunately it only lasts for a short time. That growth, I feel like you can come back to that, and it's something special in that. And it's really interesting how your brain works in that way, that at least my brain is that before the challenge is actually the hardest part. Right before, you mentally build this thing up so hard. The hardest part of that whole trip was, as I said, when I was eating that food, and I imagined that I had to walk 20 kgs, 20 kilometers with this weight on my back. And then I realized, like, we're gonna arrive really late because it was already late by this moment, and then we're gonna just sleep for a really short time. We will have to wake up. I haven't eaten anything. How my body going to react? And then we have to summit a fucking mountain for like 12 hours the next day. Then we're gonna have to go to sleep, and I'm gonna have to go back all of this distance. Like, it just became too big of a challenge in my head. But when I was actually doing it, it wasn't that big of a hassle. It was hard, but it was 100% doable. Even though in my head I was painting up this picture that it wouldn't be possible. So it's really interesting how your brain can try to really talk yourself out of doing hard shit, and your brain is really the limiting factor, which is interesting. Yeah, you know, it gets thrown around a lot that you're capable of so much more than you believe, but it's really true, and you only really get that wisdom from actually challenging yourself. So yeah, with those final words, this has been it for episode 65 of the weekly update. Hope you found this fun. Hope you found this useful, and take this information and do what you will with it. Ideally, challenge yourself in some sort of way, and write a comment about that, and write a comment about how you deal with all of this. How do you deal with struggle? How you deal with uncomfortable situation, and what your view on it is. I'm really interested in seeing how other people view this sort of thing. I only can talk about myself. So with that said, hope you found this useful, and until next time, accomplish great things, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.